Today I fucked up by trying to find food I could taste after losing my sense of smell to COVID. I'm a fairly decent cook. I worked in the restaurant industry for 20 years in every role from dishwasher to line cook to restaurant manager, in anywhere from dives to award-winning restaurants. And my reward for this earlier this week was a visit from Aunt Rona that progressed into losing my sense of smell in the middle of cooking dinner. I can't smell a thing, believe me, I've tried. This also means I can't taste a thing. I decided to test this more thoroughly throughout the day. I can't smell my cologne directly out of the bottle, so I tried experimenting with different foods. I now know that I can detect foods rather than taste them. I know when something is salty, I can tell if it is bitter, I am aware of umami, I can still get a dull response from sour, and spicy works just fine. I have no idea if something is sweet. But these are senses, not true flavors. I started this morning with some leftover salmon patties that had been fried in lard, with a side of Dijon mustard. Nothing less than the night before, as a matter of fact. It may as well have been prison loaf. Later I had a small, cold, cheddar cheese sandwich on white bread. I knew what I was eating and could feel the sharpness of the cheese, but still no flavor. So I decided to ramp it up a notch. Totino's pizza rolls with yellow bird habanero sauce and limeade. It had less flavor than cardboard despite that being a probable ingredient in 2024. It felt a little like being a 3-year-old at the poker table eating the chips. Mere rectangles of food-like substance in a spicy nothing with tart, cold neutrality. This is what I would liken to the peak of a bad shroom trip. It seemed to be the height of danger from which I would step down. Later, I wanted a snack and didn't want to chance spending half of tomorrow on the toilet at work after telling my boss to fuck off while drunk as hell and then calling in with COVID at 2 a.m. and taking the next 4 days off, so I decided the lava pouches would be a bad idea. I microwaved a couple of papadums and filled a little bowl with aloo bukhari, a type of sticky, sour, orange plum grown in Afghanistan. It was equal parts resigning myself to textural eating to at least appreciate mouthfeel, and continuing the experiment with food just littering my pantry. The plums are really sour and usually smell a little like feet. Well, I couldn't smell them, and they were still sour. I did not consider that papadums are often made with some sort of basic preservative like baking soda or slaked lime when I did this. Nor did I consider the impact lentil flour and dried plums would have on my digestive system. I had just eaten 4 ibuprofen as well. The bilge pump was a churning long before I realized it. Let's go over the foods one more time. Mushy fish patties fried in pork fat. Cheese sandwich for a lactose-intolerant man. Double plus unfood with 2,500 Scoville units. Enteric-coated fever be gone with science fair volcano fuel. I am not a smart man. First there was a rumble, killers in the jungle. I know that sound, well. Then I got a bit of a seasick feeling that was like half illness, half drugs. And then I threw the blanket across the room and desperately grabbed at my Nintendo Switch, running 10 feet to the toilet, where I spent the next hour and a half cleansing my filthy temple of a body of every burnt sacrifice it had ever been offered. The entire week of Sukkot rioted against this unholy porcelain in protest to pork. A simple British buddy came out of my batty sideways. Every jalapeno within a 20-mile radius instinctively recoiled in horror at the expressions uttered as a legion of habaneros marched to war on the backs of not pizza, not solid. And in the end, it was all the same damned color as those fucking prunes. TLDR. I ate like a raccoon with a tapeworm despite not being able to taste any of it, and I paid the iron price. Anything super sugary like chocolate was tasteable for me. Hope you feel better and find something you can taste. I ate like a raccoon with a tapeworm is an expression I never knew I needed. God, my partner got COVID and I hid in my room for 2 weeks and didn't go near her without a mask. Worth it apparently. I lost it at double plus unfood. Hi, I also completely lost any tasting ability during COVID, but purely by chance I was regularly taking turmeric for inflammation. Come to find out the curcuminoids found in turmeric can help you regain your sense of smell and taste. Now I'm back to enjoying food, and I hope you will soon too. I hope your sense of smell comes back, and that you have some positive experiences to wax equally eloquent upon. Today I fucked up pretending to be someone I'm not. A few days ago my roommate informed me that her parents were on their way to our apartment to check up on her since she had not been feeling well. Me on the other hand, I was feeling fucking great, until my roommate mentioned that her parents believed I was gay. Now you might be wondering why. Well, so did I. My roommate said her parents would never have approved of their daughter moving in with a male roommate. So instead of standing her ground and telling her mom and dad that she was old enough to live with whoever she wanted, she was like, nah. The gay roommate story sounded better. I had very little time to absorb all of this information because the parents were coming and my roommate wanted to know from me if I was willing to play the part of the gay roommate. I said I was more willing to leave the apartment before her parents showed up and avoid pretending to be gay. My roommate said her parents were under the impression that I was taking care of her while she was sick, so it would make more sense if I was at the apartment. I was on the verge of saying no, until she played her "you owe me" card out of desperation and then attempted to downplay the position she was putting me in by saying it's not like I had to act gay or anything. Cut to me in pretend gay mode when my roommate's parents arrived. To my roommate's surprise, her parents were not alone. Her brother decided to visit too. My roommate was over the moon when she saw him. It was obvious that the two of them had not seen each other in ages. While brother and sister were milking every wholesome minute of their sibling reunion, mom and dad gravitated towards me. Cue awkward small talk. The dad asked me what my pronouns were and the mom wanted to know if I had a BF. My answer to the dad was he, him, and my answer to the mom was no. The mom said she refused to believe that an attractive young man like me was single. She made sure she said it loud enough so that everyone could hear. My roommate's brother rolled his eyes as he looked at me and said his relationship with his ex-boyfriend came to an end literally like a week ago, but despite his recent breakup, his mother was unashamedly playing matchmaker with the first available gay guy she came across. I looked at my roommate and low-key attempted to communicate my discomfort with my eyes. I was trying to show her what was going through my mind at that moment, which was, would have been fucking nice if I knew your brother was gay before I agreed to stop being straight. My roommate coughed all of a sudden and continued coughing until someone finally asked if she was dying. It was not the most subtle way of changing the subject, but at least she got the job done. I eventually excused myself and allowed my roommate to be alone with her family. I was in my room for like 20 minutes before I got an unexpected message from my roommate. The message was a warning or whatever that her brother was on his way to my room for some reason. Seconds later someone was knocking on my door. I took a deep breath and opened the door. It was indeed my roommate's brother. He said he wanted to thank me for taking care of his sister because he knew from personal experience what a pain in the ass she could be when she's sick. I said it was no problem. Then came an uncomfortable silence before my roommate's brother said he had a question for me. I automatically sighed on the inside. The brother wanted to know if I was gay or bi because he checked out my IG and saw photos of me with my roommate, aka his sister, and apparently our body language in these photos made him feel like we might be more than just roommates. The voice in my head said drop the act and just come clean, but the weed in my system said commit to the role and stay in character. I stupidly opted for the latter and said the following, bro. I am so fucking gay. I would empty my balls inside you and your dad before I even considered having sex with your sister. As soon as I said that, I stopped hearing sounds coming from the living room, which was where my roommate and her parents were. Everyone went from talking to not talking by the end of my sentence. It occurred to me that I might have said what I said with too much passion and forgot that my apartment was small. My roommate's brother laughed and said he's gonna have to visit his sister more often from now on. I said I had to go to the bathroom, which was just an excuse to escape. I locked the bathroom door and messaged my roommate to ask her if her parents heard what I said to her brother. My roommate's response was to send me like 1,000 emojis that seemed to suggest that she was cringing. I returned to my room and never came out until my roommate eventually confirmed that her family was gone. She said her brother wanted to say goodbye to me, but she convinced him to follow her mom and dad's lead and stay the fuck away from me. She sarcastically thanked me for being way too gay and scaring her parents away. TLR, my roommate convinced me to pretend to be gay in order to disarm her parents who were visiting our apartment and didn't approve of her living with a guy who might attempt to hook up with her or whatever. I ended up getting way too committed to my character and making a fool of myself in front of my roommate's family by saying I would fuck my roommate's brother and her father before I would ever dream of touching her. Now my roommate's parents probably feels even more worried about the well-being of their daughter thanks to me. Why do I feel like I just read a skit for some kind of show I never heard of? Progressive parents ask for pronouns, play matchmaker to gay son, but are totally not okay with their daughter having a male roommate. That seems off to me. Not a foo. You handled it well, all things considered. Her brother looked through your Instagram and noticed straight body language. Said he should visit more often after you said you'd empty your balls in him. Wanted to say bye to you. If you don't end up together with your roommate, it would be such a waste of a good origin story. Is your friend's parents' last name Roper? Or is her dad more of a Don Knotts type? Today I fucked up by trusting my friend to introduce themselves to somebody. When I was at college, I met this girl a few times but I couldn't remember her name for the life of me. We were well past the point of me asking her what her name is again. I figured out the perfect plan and I quickly asked my buddy to introduce himself to her when she came over so I could get her name. He agrees and she makes her way over to us. We all stand there for a moment and as the seconds tick by it gets more and more awkward. He finally turns to me and says, "Aren't you going to introduce me?" I should have known he was going to throw me under the bus. But it's one of the funniest moments that I'll never forget. Too long did not read. I asked my friend to introduce himself to a person whose name I should have known, but he did the exact opposite. I've been working at the same place for 5 years and chat up a guy about video games whenever I pass him in the hallway. About 3 or 4 times a week. I still don't know his name. My nightmare was when a couple we'd known for years got divorced. Turns out we only knew them by their first names. They were always just Bob and Holly. Mulva? I've worked side by side with other delivery people for years. There's a couple I still don't know their names but can tell you their life story. You get him to walk up to her and start chatting on his own, and then come over to you and tell you her name. You don't stand there awkwardly while they meet, because the expectation is, as you are the one who knows them both, you'll introduce them to each other. LMAO, what happened then? Today I fucked up by eating too many boneless chicken wings at work. 54M, 5 feet 10 and about 290 pounds. So I am kind of fat and put on a lot of weight recently. I work in a production facility in the Mountain West in a very small town. About 300 employees. This facility is of course a, like family, atmosphere, which is fine, whatever. They feed us a couple times a month. The food is a mix of catering from large local restaurants, chain restaurants or home-cooked meals. The food is really pretty good 9 out of 10 times, no complaints there. So last night they catered Buffy Wild Wingers stop for dinner. This is a new addition to the lineup. I am greeted by a couple of higher-ups and HR types. I am a little distracted because I really don't know or like these guys too much. It's not the regular management crew I am used to doing the food. And I have had a few one-off experiences with a couple of them that didn't really go too well. But everything is friendly and cordial while I load up my plate with like 20 boneless wings and a bunch of other stuff that was there. I am hungry. There were like 6 kinds of wings in warmers on the bar in the break room. So I eat them, exchange more pleasantries and get up to leave. I am looking around the break room, because it is the other break room that I don't frequent. There is a sign at the beginning of the line that says, "Please take only 6 pieces of chicken for your meal." Too long did not read. Didn't see the sign we could only have 6 chicken wings, took 20. Edit. Didn't know the phrase, kind of, was going to set some people off. Yes, I am fat. As described below, they were chicken nuggets. Didn't even cover the bottom of the large paper plate. I wasn't trying to be a glutton. It wasn't an office party. It was a meal provided to production workers at 1 a.m. in the middle of nowhere. You can go outside at night and not see the lights from the nearest town. Today I fucked up is supposed to be I didn't see the sign, not that I am a gluttonous asshole with no respect. Guess I shouldn't have mentioned that I was fat. You and the 60 inches sandwich guy should hang out. General LPT, don't relax at any work function, you are always being judged. Sorry, but that's the truth, even at places where it's like family, maybe even more so. Don't overdrink, don't overeat, don't overshare. You may actually get 1 or 2 people who become true friends, if you are lucky, but only relax in the friendship away from the workplace. Oh well, respectfully, you might have a lot to gain by losing weight. 5 feet 10. At 209 pounds is obese. At 290 pounds you're well beyond just kind of fat. Best of luck. What would you do if they had put out a 6 female hero? Bro, I'm 6 feet 2 inches 325. I can eat. I don't know what it's like where you're from, but we don't need a sign to say, be frugal so everyone can have some. We're all used to companies grifting us with a food day instead of a bonus. Common decency just doesn't exist with many people. I remember when my old corporate job did pizza days, they'd get enough for everyone to have 2 slices and there's always be 5 guys who ran in and literally stacked a plate with an entire pizza and got out before it was fully set up. Obviously, if there is a set amount of food you don't eat a huge amount, you consider other people.